Many different methods of birth control have been used to try and prevent pregnancies over time. In the past, women have relied on ineffective or even dangerous methods of birth control. This is due to the fact that most women weren't provided access to birth control until recent decades. Women have tried drinking Coca-Cola, inserting lemon juice, and applying disinfectant onto their genitalia to try and kill sperm. These methods are all generally ineffective and potentially dangerous to health. Some women in the present day still use methods like these if they are unable to get access to birth control. Only in the 60s did forms of birth control become approved by the FDA, including the first oral contraceptive and various IUDs. Feminists, however, began to challenge the safety of oral contraceptives in the 1970s. Birth control then became legalized in all of the countries. Many forms of birth control have been introduced since, with increased safety and effectiveness. There are still flaws and concerns with present-day birth control, but overall, there seems to be a large improvement in the stigma around it, access to it, and its success. Birth control has had a huge impact on birth rates in the United States. According to statistics, the U.S. hit a peak in birth rates of over 120 births per 1,000 women in the 1960s, the year when birth control was first made accessible to most of the general population. There was then an extreme and sudden decline in birth rates in the 1970s, and the rate continues to decline into the 2010s. This signifies birth control's impact on population, as birth control was made accessible to all of the U.S. in the 1970s, and has continued to improve since. Birth control enables women to prevent unwanted pregnancies, and in turn, many women have chosen to not have children in the first place. As the world becomes more knowledgeable and accepting of birth control, many unwanted pregnancies will be prevented, and this in turn will impact the population. As women across the world continue to gain access to birth control, the risk of overpopulation will likely decrease as birth rates will be far lower. We decided to interview high school students and question their knowledge of birth control.
So, do you have any knowledge about birth control and what it does to your body?
I know it kind of messes with your hormones.
I know it's pretty expensive, like unreasonably so.
I know that it only works sometimes. Like I know women or like young women parents give them birth control to like help because they know they're like sexually active or something.
Do y'all know the effects of birth control when it's inside your body?
A lot of times, it depending on how your body reacts to it.
It can affect like different things, like your hormones and all that kind of stuff.
Birth control can make you gain weight, can make your emotional and hormones go like out of control. You can't have your period for like a whole freaking 2 years, and then out of nowhere it just comes up.
I know sometimes, IUDs have a lot of complications, which is why they're not my favorite. Sometimes I know they can cause a lot of uterine cramping and bleeding and things like that. And it can throw off your ovulation cycle once you get it removed. And then also the arm patch can stop your period altogether sometimes. And so it kind of makes you think you're pregnant. It's like a hit or miss, but whatever.
Do you know the types of birth control?
I don't know when I really know it.
It's what?
Doula.
Okay.
I don't know about the birth control. I didn't know that sometimes birth control be in your arm. You know, they put it on your arm.
Implant.
About you, Jacob?
The armor and the Togosilin or something like that.
Some people think there's only like the birth control pill. There's birth control, there's an IUD, there's an implant in your arm, and then there are like female condoms and stuff like that, but that's really contraception.
There's like, okay, I know there's a pill, there's a shot, and then there's like the one that makes your arm like loose. I don't even remember what you said. Whatever.
We then interviewed a professional to compare the degrees of understanding of birth control.
Do you know what birth control is?
I do know what birth control is. So birth control is the method or means that a woman uses so that she does not get pregnant.
So how easily accessible would you say birth control is to the average woman in the United States?
Wow. So I'm not sure about the United States, but in Shelby County, it's accessible with the health department for one, and there are other organizations in the city that provide free birth control, such as Estella.
So, like, if you were to estimate what amount of women would you say are like just percentage would you say take birth control at some point in their life?
Wow. If I had to estimate, probably at 75 to 80%.
So would you say that like society's views on birth control and the kind of stigma around it have changed over the decades?
Oh yes, it's gotten a lot better. Of course, as women, as we grow and we move to the forefront of leadership, then we can make changes. And women have made great strides, so that helps in us being able to fight for what we want and what works for our bodies. So the stigma is pretty much, it's very little now compared to what it used to be.
So would you say this project is on population? So we were talking about birth control's impact on it. So would you say that like as women have more control over their bodies and the option to prevent unwanted pregnancies, would you say that it's like lowering birth rates?
I'm not necessarily lowering birth rates, but it is lowering it's lowering unplanned pregnancies.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because now we have the option to really plan and to choose when. So we are using that because we are postponing starting our families. We're starting them later so that we can do school, career, and all the other good stuff.
Right.
I think a lot of people don't realize what birth control really is and like the effects of birth control. But it's forcing on a lot of people.
If it's the decision that they want to do, then it's up to them.
I mean, birth control to me is just like you just prevent somebody from coming in the world, but I mean, you still trying to enjoy like your personal life and like everything.
It's your decision.